In this series, I'm trying my very best to show you just how incredible Messi has always been. Last week we witnessed how his at first undiscovered talent took him from being just another kid in Argentina to becoming an unbelievable wonder kid all the way in Barcelona, and now in a way that pretty much saved his life. Last time I said Messi was like an artist putting down the first coats of paint in the background of his masterpiece. Today, you'll get to hear all about what happened once he got to let his creativity run wild, so sit back and enjoy the ride. And trust me, things are about to get serious, so welcome to the first season of Lionel Messi. Leo finally got his official debut against Espanyol, coming on with 7 minutes to go as Barcelona beat them 1-0. But this win was a rare occurrence over Messi's first few matches. In his friendly debut against Porto, they lost 2-0, but well, to be fair, it was Mourinho's Porto and Barcelona were depleted to say the very least. But what is much harder to justify is how Barcelona lost on Messi's first ever start for the club. It's almost like Messi was paying a front for the decades of immeasurable success he would go on to have. So, on his first ever start, Messi lined up beside Enric Larsson, Puyol, Giuli, Bronkhorst, Xavi, Iniesta and Eto'o to play Gramenet in a Copa del Rey last 32 match. Back then, Gramenet was playing in the third tier of Spanish football and they weren't even heading towards promotion. But that day, somehow, they held Barcelona to a goalless draw all the way to extra time, where they stuck the dagger, scoring the winning goal that would take them all the way to the quarterfinals of the Copa del Rey, where they got beaten by eventual champions, Real Betis. It's quite a story, and it only gets better once you realize that Gramenet is still to this very day the only team that Messi has faced and not managed to beat on any occasion. I'm betting they hold pretty tight to that record. This string of unlucky results continued once Messi got his first full 90 for the club and debuted in the Champions League against Shakhtar Donetsk, somehow losing 2-0. But before the end of the season, one of the first jaw-dropping moments of Lionel Messi brilliance finally came. It was a match against Albacete and Messi came in with only 2 minutes left in the match. It was supposed to be a novelty, but Messi had other plans. Mere seconds after being subbed on, Ronaldinho spotted his run, shipped the ball over the defense and Messi, along with the goalkeeper to beat, used his first touch of the match to get the ball in place, and the second to lob it over the keeper. The stadium erupted for a second, and then the flag was up. It was offside. But the people watching from home quickly got the news that in reality, it wasn't offside. Regardless, Messi smiled, running back to position. Ronaldinho smiled back at him, and unbelievably, just a few seconds later, Messi got the ball again, began running right towards the defense, and on the last second, he gave the ball back to Ronaldinho. And would you believe it? Ronaldinho ships it over the defense and Messi lobs it over the keeper. A mirrored image of the first goal, and yet, they still couldn't stop him. Leo went running towards the roaring crowd, flailing his arms around. Ronaldinho approached him, let out a smile, and Messi hopped on his back, giving us a moment for the ages. Over the summer, he took part in the Under-20 World Cup, having finished qualification as the top scorer among his teammates, despite being mainly used as a sub due to his ongoing problems with stamina. What followed was a moment that serves to show his mindset and just how much hard work goes into becoming Lionel Messi. Upset over losing out on playing time that could serve as a way to further help his squad, Messi took on extra training alongside a personal trainer to increase muscle mass and compensate for his health problems. Still, once the tournament started, he was protected, not once being given the opportunity of playing a full match over the group stage. But once they qualified for the knockout stages, something changed. Messi began playing the full 90 and it was absurd. As Roy Hodgson would go on to say, men are supposed to be equal in God's eyes, but Messi makes you think otherwise. In the last 16, he scored to start the comeback against Colombia. Then he put down Argentina's third to send his Spanish teammates home. In the semi-finals, he scored the opener against eternal rivals Brazil, and in the final, he scored 2 penalties as Argentina beat Nigeria 2-1 to become Under-20 world champions. Leo was the best player and the top scorer of the tournament, but of course, these successes would only be the first of many. A few weeks later, he would earn his debut for the Argentina main squad against Hungary, and once again it would not go his way. About an hour into the game he came in, and what happened next no one could have guessed. About 30 seconds after being subbed in, he got the ball for the first time. A Hungarian player began pulling on his shirt, and Messi flailed his arms back. And it started to see if he even hit the player's face, but the player complained like Messi had broken his jaw. Even the Bulgarian commentators can be heard saying that Messi probably won't get sent off. But the referee decided otherwise, and Messi was out less than 2 minutes after coming in. Regardless, back in Barcelona it was time for his third season with the club, and before it even started, an iconic moment took place. Barcelona had a tour through the United States during that preseason, and Ronaldinho, who had been a friend of basketball star Kobe Bryant, decided to meet up with him. As they approached the team, Ronaldinho told Kobe he was going to introduce him to a player who was going to be the greatest of all time. Kobe looked at him and said, "What do you mean? You're the one who's the best." Ronaldinho smiled and said, "No, that kid right there is gonna retire us all." As you might imagine, he was talking about Leo, who that season finally became a first-team regular. After some games getting used to his new role, Leo scored again. It was his first Champions League goal, yet again shipping the keeper in a match against Panathinaikos, where he got an assist as well. Over January, he would get the first goal-scoring streak of his career, with 6 goals over 7 matches, made more impressive by the fact he only played the full 90 in one of them, ending up with an average of a goal every 59 minutes. And so, over the next few weeks, Leo was called up for his first ever knockout stage game at the international level. The opponent is Chelsea. This was a huge opportunity for him to announce himself to the world, and he did it in a spectacular fashion. Even if in the end it was Samuel Eto'o's goal that made the difference, nobody was talking about him. The focus was on the 17-year-old genius who spent 90 minutes making a mockery out of the Chelsea defense. As the world was eager to see more of him at this stage, Messi came on for the second leg, only to go down 25 minutes in and be out for months due to a torn muscle in his thigh. After seeing Barcelona draw Benfica in the quarterfinals, it became apparent to everyone that this super team had a good chance of making the final, and I'm guessing Messi knew that as well. He worked extra hard for months in hopes of edging past his injury on time for the final, and he did it. On the Tuesday before the match, he was back in training, and he made it public that he wanted to play in the final. But then the team sheet comes out and his name is nowhere to be seen. Frank Rijkaard didn't want to risk putting such a young player who was coming off an injury into what was bound to be the most hard-fought game of the season. Barcelona played out the final and were champions. Messi watched from the stands but didn't look happy. Perhaps sensing this, the players approached him and asked him to join the celebrations on the pitch. He refused. He felt he hadn't been part of it, and so he didn't deserve to celebrate among them. This was a decision that he would come to regret and make up for a few years later. Over the summer, Messi played in the 2006 World Cup, and it started well. He scored in his first match, made 2 notable appearances, but when Argentina met Germany in the quarterfinals, Jose Pekerman decided against starting him. Even as Argentina went in front, Messi, whose high usage rates and ability to keep the ball could have been used to control the tempo of the match, was kept on the bench. This decision went on to be criticized for years to come, as Argentina would go on to concede and lose the match on penalties. As the 2006-2007 season started, Messi finally started becoming an unquestionable presence in every Barcelona match. Still, by mid-November, he had only scored 4 goals, and to make matters worse, what followed was a 3-month-long injury that saw him miss 18 matches. No one could have predicted that after coming back from injury, he would somehow step up his game to a level he had never shown before. After 2 weeks back, Messi was yet to leave his mark on the score sheet, but then came El Clásico. Barcelona sat 5 points clear of Real Madrid in second place, but that day, it seemed like it was 11 Real Madrid players versus Messi by himself. Just 5 minutes into the match, a poor interception left Van Nistelrooy right at the edge of the box, completely centered towards the goal, and just like the commentator said, he just doesn't miss those. Real were in front 1-0. Just 6 minutes after that, Messi got the ball on the right after a great pass by Samuel Eto'o, and he slotted it right into the far posts, leveling the game, but to no avail, as in the next play Guti would get tripped in the box and Van Nistelrooy would bury it from the penalty spot. Finally, the match calmed down a bit, but still, by the 28th minute, Ronaldinho magically squeezed in between every Real Madrid player, eventually striking the ball straight at the goalkeeper, leading Messi to score again on the rebound. For the next 40 minutes, there were no changes to the score sheets, the spotlight shining down on Messi and Ronaldinho, who seemed in sync as any duo could ever be. But then, the inevitable happened. If you don't score, you concede. It's one of the oldest teachings in football, and so, a Sergio Ramos header put Real in front for the third time. What followed was some of the most intense drama seen at El Clasico. Barcelona was pushing forward over and over again, but the clock was ticking down, and as the injury time was added to it, Ronaldinho got the ball towards the center of the pitch. Messi approached him, the through ball made his way to him, the first touch put two players behind him, and by the time Ramos got to him, Messi was locked and loaded, and there was no time to stop the shot that would put Barcelona at the top of the table. In the 50 years before that day, only two Barcelona players had scored a hat-trick in El Clasico, Gary Lineker and Romario, and want to know one thing about them? They surely weren't 19 years old at the time. Messi was on a whole other level. Over the streak of games that followed, Messi totaled 7 goals in 6 matches, but the first goal he scored in the last of those matches against Getafe was out of this world. Comparisons between Messi and Maradona were low-hanging fruit back when he first started, but if Messi kept telling the press that from his point of view they were two different players, that day it was at the very least confirmed that they were equally as phenomenal. It's hard to see Messi's goal without immediately thinking of Maradona's goal of the century in 1986. They got the ball in roughly the same place, they progressed forward with the same frenetic speed, left what seemed like half a dozen defenders behind, only to end up dribbling past the keeper in the same way, leaving the last defender hanging hopeless by the near posts. Iconic as it gets, one of the most memorable moments in football ever, let alone by a teenager. Look, the world as a whole was freaked out by their similarity at this point, so imagine how everyone felt when just a few weeks later in a match against Espanyol, Leo tied the match by jumping alongside the goalkeeper and scoring with his hand. Just like the famous hand of God, it was like Messi was paying homage to the man who led his country before him. It was as beautiful as it was intriguing to see. Unfortunately, despite Messi's best efforts after drawing against Real Betis in the last minute of the match, Barcelona dropped down to second place, tied on points with Real, who would eventually be champions of Spain. Over the summer, Messi took part in his first ever Copa America, and it seemed that right from its start, this competition was determined to leave Messi with a sour taste in his mouth. After scoring in both knockout matches that led to the final, Argentina met Brazil. But not in the usual way. This Brazilian squad was missing pretty much every single one of their best players, as they had requested to skip the tournament in order to get some rest following a tough club season. Imagine the shock of everyone when a Brazilian squad without Ronaldinho, Kaká, Ronaldo, Roberto Carlos or even Adriano managed to beat Argentina by 3 goals despite their heavy favoritism. It was a day to forget for Lionel Messi. Messi started the next season with an impressive goal-scoring streak of 8 goals in 6 games, including ones against Atletico, Lyon, Sevilla and Stuttgart. He kept a steady supply of goals over the season, and by December, he made the podium of the Ballon d'Or for the first time, sitting below only Cristiano and Kaká. Later on in the second leg of the last 16 matches against Celtic, having already scored twice against them, Messi came off crying, once again having problems with his hamstrings. The thing is, Barcelona was aware Messi shouldn't have played that game, but due to pressure from the media, Rijkaard ended up fielding him regardless. After this injury, Messi began being even more heavily tracked by the medical staff, following a new workout regime involving lots of stretching of his thigh muscles and having his sleep and meals tracked as well. Once he was back on the team, one of his first matches would be one for the history books, a Champions League semi-final, Barcelona versus Manchester United, the first match between Messi and Ronaldo. Unfortunately, it would be far from the most exciting match they'd provide us with. With Messi injured and only 1 goal between the 2 legs, there isn't much to be said about it, though Ronaldo did miss a penalty 3 minutes into the match, so That was a fair bit intense. Regardless, Barcelona was out of the Champions League, and with the league not going their way either, only managing 3rd place, 18 points off the top, Rijkaard was replaced by a new manager, an ex-Barcelona player. You know who it is, Pep Guardiola. But before Messi got introduced to his magical tiki-taka, it was time for the Olympic Games. It's an odd competition, but still an interesting one. It ends up working similarly to an under-23 tournament, with the exception that 3 players over that age are allowed to participate. So, Argentina added Riquelme, Mascherano, and Pareja to their already strong squad, and the outcome was a tremendous success. But the hardest part was getting Messi to participate. See, the Olympic Games take place very shortly before the start of the season, right at the time when Barcelona would take part in the Champions League playoffs, and so they not only didn't allow Messi to go, but made sure to take the Argentinian Federation to court and won. So you probably ask yourself how it all changed. Pep Guardiola had not only taken part in the games back in his time, but he was also a gold medalist, and understanding the value that memory had for him, he convinced the club to let Messi go, and what followed were 6 straight wins, with Messi scoring 2 goals and getting himself an Olympic gold medal as well. As for Barcelona, they still qualified, of course. Now with Guardiola in command, many things changed. Despite being sort of a rookie coach at the time, Guardiola had informed Deco and Ronaldinho that their services would no longer be necessary, as he found their bohemian lifestyle to be a bad influence on youngsters like Leo. Even Eto'o would get the same news, but would end up staying for 1 more year. Even though all of this was met with some shock, with it came the opportunity to offer Leo something that would become a symbol for the rest of his career: the Barcelona number 10 shirts, and with it, Messi's prime form had been unlocked, and we began witnessing what was the first few years of Messi's most frightening and most inspiring performances. The only negative aspect to all of this is that Salvador Aparicio, president of Grandoli and Messi's first ever coach, passed away that year and was never able to witness his old pupil rise to the top of the world. By December, Messi totaled 25 goals in 20 matches, but still, when the Ballon d'Or came around, he managed only 2nd place below Cristiano, with the Champions League title making a big difference. But if that was so, Messi had to take it from him, and so he began working towards it. In his first half of the season, he had already managed 8 goals and assists across 4 group stage matches, so it was just a matter of keeping them coming. Over the last 16, Barcelona would thrash Lyon 6-3 on aggregate, with Henry and Eto'o taking center stage with 6 goals and assists between the two, while Messi would settle for a single goal. But in his next performance, Barcelona really needed him, and that time, there was no such thing as settling. Barcelona met Bayern Munich for the quarterfinals, and 9 minutes into the match, in a very similar play to that of the first goal in his El Clasico hat-trick, Messi got the ball off of Samuel Eto'o and put it in the back of the net with just 2 touches. Only 4 minutes later, Messi would return the favor, completely mirroring the first goal as he assisted Eto'o. Before the end of the first half, it was Henry's turn to get into the action, gifting Messi his 2nd goal and then scoring a 4th one to end the match. The toughest match of the campaign came against Chelsea in the semi-finals. It was a long, drawn-out match involving lots of controversial referee decisions that are still talked about to this day. But that isn't the focus of this documentary, so we'll leave them aside for now. What matters here is that at a certain point it seemed Chelsea had figured out Barcelona. After a goalless draw at the Camp Nou, they led 1-0 for nearly 90 minutes at the bridge. But in injury time, Messi found himself with the opportunity to get Iniesta in shooting range from the edge of the box, and so he let go of the ball, and what followed was a euphoric goal with Iniesta taking off his shirt and Guardiola running down the pitch. The memories kept stacking up for our young genius. After putting down a goal and an assist in the Copa del Rey final to secure the domestic double, Messi had only the Champions League final to beat in order to complete a seemingly perfect season. But if earlier I said he needed to take the UCL trophy from Ronaldo, fate would have it that it would be exactly him who he would have to face in the final. If their first meeting was dull, this was one to remember. What ensued from the start was a clear battle between the two, with both testing the keepers from far out on multiple occasions. Regardless, the goal came early on from Samuel Eto'o, and the rivalry that was in a way yet to start would be settled as Leo took a page from Ronaldo's book and scored a rare header to seal the game for Barcelona. Messi was now a European champion, a treble winner who over the last season had played 51 games and totaled 55 goal contributions, being just 3 goals off of matching his tally across all of his first 4 seasons. This was the year of his breakthrough into all-timer status. To finally take home the Ballon d'Or, all he needed was a solid start to the season, and though he slowed down a bit, playing 22 more matches and being involved in 20 goals, he picked the perfect times to pull off perfect performances, winning the Spanish Super Cup while scoring 2 goals, the European Super Cup while assisting the only goal, and even the Club World Cup, scoring in both matches. When the ceremony came around, there was no discussion. With more than double the points of second place Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi was officially head and shoulders above everyone else, the best player in the world. But there was a catch behind all of this. Back at the beginning of the season, Real Madrid, perhaps intimidated by Barcelona's incredible football and Messi's seemingly infinite potential, had gone and run it back, pulling off what seemed like the second coming of Los Galácticos, signing both previous Ballon d'Or winners, Ricardo Kaká and of course Ronaldo. And if Kaká would have a hard time in Spain, with Ronaldo sharing a league with Messi, the greatest rivalry in the history of the sport was now about to take place, and with Messi taking the Ballon d'Or, he had just taken the first swing, and it was one hell of a hit. After winning the biggest award in the sport, some players feel they have done it all and begin slowing down, but Messi went the complete opposite way. He just kept getting better. Just 1 month after the award, he dropped his first hat-trick of the season, and while some were saying, "Oh, it's just Tenerife," Messi went on a streak, scoring for 5 matches in a row, including hat-tricks against Zaragoza and Valencia, totaling 11 goals in those 5 matches. The doubters were still there though. They always are, and if this time around they were saying he only does it in La Liga, Messi pulled off one of the most incredible performances of his career. After a first-leg draw, Arsenal went in front at the Camp Nou with only 18 minutes on the clock. What followed was proof that at 5'7", Messi was a weapon of mass destruction. If the first goal was like a missile, the second was a cold dagger to the heart. By the time the third came around, it was like Messi was just showing off, shipping the keeper in the most effortless of ways. By halftime, this was already one of the best performances ever seen. But right before the final whistle, Messi made sure to score his 4th goal of the match. This one was just embarrassing. Messi wasn't just toying around with their defenders, he was dancing on their grave. The next Champions League tie saw Messi meet another of his future nemesis. Messi was about to meet Inter Milan, and the man in charge was José Mourinho. Barcelona were favorites, but an incredible first-leg performance by Messi's international teammate Diego Milito saw them lose 3-1. The entire world had to hold their breaths for a week as they awaited the second leg. Everyone was having premonitions of the beating Inter was bound to be on the receiving end of. After all, back in 2010, most thought Barcelona was pretty much unbeatable, and with Inter reduced to 10 men right from the beginning of the match, there weren't many betting on them making it through. That match is now remembered as Mourinho's air bus, as many said that parking the bus was an understatement. He parked a whole airplane. If Barcelona played exciting attacking football that day, Mourinho gathered his troops and played 90 minutes of the most pragmatic and defensively sound football ever seen. Barcelona would only manage 1 goal and would be out of the competition. Messi seemed to be pissed off at this elimination, and so, for the rest of the season, he scored in every single match. Essential as Barcelona barely edged it past Real Madrid as they won the league, but also essential in another way. With these goals, Messi totaled 47 for the season, tying Ronaldo Phenomenal for the most goals scored in a season by a Barcelona player. We were at the edge of what was bound to be Messi's prime, and no one could wait to see how it went. And if you feel the exact same way, just wait for the next episode that should come out a week from now on Saturday. And don't forget to click the bell below if you want to be notified once it comes out. Or maybe, if you're watching this well in the future, it already came out, so go and check if it's on the channel. Thanks everyone for watching, it means the most. See you next week. Bye.